Hey, welcome back everybody. It is time for another edition of Catholic Cocktails. This is a weekly video production on YouTube from Salt and Light Catholic Radio in Boise, Idaho. And this series, we raise a glass, we have a toast with some of our more famous and sometimes not so famous saints in our Catholic faith. And the drinks and the saints are based on this book, Drinking with the Saints, by Dr. Michael P. Foley.
So each week we come here to the harp and we introduce a drink and a saint for that week. The drink is somehow associated with the life or some characteristic of the saint. So after we introduce the saint and the drink right here, we then send it over to Teresa Zapeta, who's kind of our resident saint expert. She's very knowledgeable on all things saints. Yes. And so then she brings it back to us. We have our bartender introduce the drink again, and they kind of tell us how we're going to make it, and then they make it, of course. Then Brian and I get to talk about it, and we talk about what we learned from Teresa.
That's right. So this week we are going to talk about Saint Albert the Great, and the cocktail that we're going to be making in honor of him is the mud pie. And you have an interesting story to kind of correlate the two. Can't wait for that.
It's quite the thing, yeah.
The ingredients that we're going to need, rye, some orange curacao, or orange liqueur of some sort, some simple syrup, bitters, and lots of fruit. Oranges, lemons, cherries, oh
just
my.
Take a fruit salad, just kind of, you know.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. So what you're going to need to put everything in is very, very simple. You'll just need a old-fashioned glass, right? So the rocks glass, a small one, and then the big spoon or a regular spoon to kind of mix it all up.
The big spoon.
Yeah, well, you know, the big, long, skinny one.
Okay. I just didn't know if it had a name or not. Calm down.
I'm not a bartender.
It's okay.
Do I look?
We'll get the backstory.
Yeah, don't worry.
When we talk to our resident expert.
Yep.
Okay, well, we know what we're going to make and the things we're going to need to make it. But right now, we're going to learn more about Saint Albert the Great from Teresa Zapeta.
On November 15th, the church celebrates the feast day of Saint Albert the Great, a bishop and a doctor of the church. He was born in 1206 in Germany, and at some point he went to Padua, to the University of Padua, to study, and it was there he encountered the Dominican order. In 1222, much to the objection of his family, he joined the Dominicans. He was sent to study, and he taught as well philosophy in both Cologne and Paris. He became one of the most renowned philosophers of his day. It was while he was in Cologne that he had the privilege of having a young Dominican friar as one of his students. That was Thomas Aquinas. In 1254, he became provincial superior to the Dominican order. However, 3 years later, he resigned so he could go back to teaching. Pope Alexander IV appointed him Bishop of Regensburg, but once again, 2 years later, he resigned when the new Pope Urban IV came to the throne of Peter. Once again, his heart was in writing and teaching. He played an active role in the Second Council of Lyon. In fact, it was while he was traveling there that he learned about the death of Thomas Aquinas. In fact, St. Albert's last public appearance would be in defending St. Thomas Aquinas's work. In 1278, while giving a lecture, he suddenly had a memory loss. The next 2 years, the loss of memory gradually became complete. Today, he would probably have been diagnosed with Alzheimer or some other form of dementia. In 1280, on November 15th, sitting quietly and peacefully amongst his brothers, he died in his chair. But why is Albert called great? Why was he known at the time as being a universal doctor? It was because of his powerful mind and his intellectual curiosity. Throughout his years of teaching and administration, he spent a great deal of time researching in the library and anywhere he could observe natural phenomena. He was an authority not only on the Bible and theology, but also logic, metaphysics, ethics, physical sciences, and that's not all. Physics, astronomy, mineralogy, chemistry, biology, human and animal physiology. He also wrote treatises on botany and geography. He believed that the teachings of the ancient philosophers, for example, Aristotle, could be reconciled with the teachings of the church and used as tools. It was on the shoulders of St. Albert the Great that Thomas Aquinas stood and was able to reach such heights in scholasticism. So it is very proper that we lift a glass to St. Albert the Great with a mud pie cocktail, which pays a nod to one of the most interesting stories in his research.
As we do each and every week, we film Catholic cocktails at the beautiful Harp Irish Pub and Eatery in Meridian, Idaho. And we're breaking in a new bartender today. Behind the bar, we have Liberty.
Hi.
Well, welcome to Catholic Cocktails. And
Wow,
today we're
thank
going to make a mud pie. A lot of interesting ingredients here. Walk us through it.
All right, so you can either do one or the other. You can either muddle all the little fruits and stuff together, but we like to kind of just garnish it to make it look real pretty. So is what we do is we take a little bit of lemon, lime, and orange. So with the orange, I like to take a slice here and just kind of go around the rim so it gives it that nice citrus smell. So when you're already kind of giving that your senses there with the smell of it. And then you're gonna take a little bit of sugar, sweetened, or triple sec, or
Simple syrup.
simple syrup will work. A little half ounce of that. We're gonna put it in a jar here, and then we're gonna take a little bit, a half ounce of any type of orange curacao, Grocco, orange liqueur. We'll do another half ounce of that here. Just add that in there too. And then we're gonna shake a little bit of bitters. Can never forget the bitters. Yeah, I'm gonna just put that there for now. Do another little shake. Okay, and then on top of that, I like to just add like a little tiny splash of the orange or cherry juice. And then do not shake, stir.
With the big spoon.
With the big spoon,
That Trinity
as we
was
were
alluding
told.
to earlier.
I guess that's our new, way to call it. The big spoon stir. Okay, and then it's what we do when that's nice and chilled and together, is you're gonna strain it over. I like to do what I call a rock. It's for an old fashioned. They use the big ice cubes, so it all goes over it. We're gonna put it up here so you can see a little better. So you just kind of give a little like this. And then with that on top of it, you're gonna do an ounce and a half of the bourbon, the rye, sorry about that.
But
and
you
then,
can use either or.
Absolutely, you can. And then what we do with that is we're gonna float it.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
What's the technique
So we're gonna
for
take
that?
here, so we're just gonna kind of go like this, whoops, and then we're just gonna kind of give a little float above it.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty? And then we'll just garnish it here with, like she was wanting a fruit basket, so I will give her a fruit basket. Here we go.
Nice.
There we go. And we'll do another little lemon there. And there's your mud.
So if we can get close up here, you've got the
Little
orange
layers.
and the pink here, and then floating on top is the yellow. It's just quite the rainbow. So, well, there you have it, the mud pie. All right, as always, ladies first.
Right,
You asked for a fruit basket. She gave you
it
one.
sounded like a fruit basket. It's so pretty.
Kind of looks like one too.
Right, should I like swoosh it, or do you
I'm
think-
wondering.
or should I just like do a little swooshy swoosh? Maybe.
We could break out the big
the
spoon.
big spoon.
Like a big spoon.
Sure.
There you go.
Yes. I get to.
just want to use it.
I do. Garrett does this thing where you're like, I don't remember. He does it with his fingers. Yes. I love it. Awesome. Clink it and sink it, as I always say. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Alrighty, here we go. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it tastes how it, like you would think it would taste. I mean, just like orange dreamsicle, very summery, a little bit of the cherry sweetness on the end. I feel like that would almost be a sparkling drink. Like if
That is very good.
Yeah. Just that. That is very good. Period.
I'll be over here in the corner, and Trinity can finish the show.
All right. Just taking over here. So, check it out. It's really good. It's a very beautiful drink. I think it's one of the prettier ones we've actually had.
Yeah,
so
that
far.
is a gorgeous drink.
It layered well. Sometimes our drinks don't layer as well as the book wants us to. But. So let's talk about St. Albert.
Yeah, one of the greatest minds in the church.
Definitely.
And,
well, yeah, because the student was St. Thomas Aquinas,
Yeah.
right? So he was no slouch, everybody. No slouch.
So if you're a Star Wars fan and you're, the whole master and Padawan,
right.
when St. Thomas Aquinas is your Padawan, you must be
The
pretty
Jedi Master.
freaking
St. Albert
brilliant.
is Yoda,
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I didn't understand about the whole thing with the animals.
The animals?
His study of the animals.
Oh, yes. So he actually, was a scientist. Like, natural science was kind of his thing. And so researchers, compare and contrast, and there's lots of scientists that will look at different scientists' area of study and kind of see where they, were really good, where they weren't so good. And actually, they were saying that St. Albert's studies were like in competition with Darwin, and he's like known
Right.
for evolution and that kind of stuff. So his studies on animals' adaptations to nature are like top notch apparently in the scientific community.
And then there was a story about a heron.
Yeah. So get
Trinity
ready.
is much more prepared for
Get
this
ready,
saint than I
everybody.
am, so she
So-
actually did the homework and I didn't so much.
Let me see here. So in his studies on the heron, which the French name is Ardea, I believe, is how it's pronounced, or Ardea. That's the Latin name, for a heron, and so he thinks it's called that because its excrement burns the people that it touches. It burns, scalds, which in Latin is Ardea or
Okay.
Ardet. So the bird is said to defend itself from hawks by pooping on them. So
Well played.
So yeah, just like a waka, type action. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to also share from the book because this is my favorite segment from the book so far because it was just really funny and he did a good job with it. But about the last call box, the little brown
Right.
one at the bottom of the page. So it says, a century ago, "Here's mud in your eye" was a popular toast. It may have been inspired by our Lord's healing of a blind man with mud, where he spat
right.
on the mud and rubbed it on his eyes or whatever. So either way, in light of St. Albert's heron and his studies on the bird, it takes on a whole new meaning. So another toast that works well after hearing the tale of the heron is, "Through the intercession of St. Albert, may the enemies of the church never know what hit them." So that's kind of where the mud pie
So when the mud hits the fan.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
Well, yeah, cool guy, really awesome. I would encourage you to learn more about him and his scientific research.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, special thanks to the Harp Irish Pub and Eatery for hosting us, and we thank you for joining us. Make sure you click the thumbs up.
Yes, please like, subscribe, follow Salt and Light Catholic Radio on Facebook, on Instagram. You can also find our podcast page, which is The Salt Podcast, and it has lots of information about our podcasting studio. And then, of course, subscribe to our YouTube page. We have all sorts of content, so check it out, guys.
And we'd love to hear your comments if you try the mud pie. just to see what you think.
Yeah.
What do we give it? 5 out of 5? 4.5 out of 5?
4.5 stars. I would say it was like a 3 for me.
A 3
Yeah,
out
it's
of
very
5.
sweet. It's
Okay.
not, I don't know. It wasn't like, wow, this is blowing my brain, but it was pretty good.
So if you were to try it or make it at home, would you add like a ginger beer or something
I feel
little
like, yeah, I like
effervescent?
sparkling drinks. So
Okay.
I think with the flavors there, it's very like summery and refreshing. So I'd put like a Sprite
Trinity
or something
likes
in.
to sparkle.
You know
Okay.
it.
St. Albert the Great,
Pray
pray for
for
us. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.